As I have grown older, more and more of my time goes into meditation. Out of this has come the belief that the malaise of our society is very deep, and that the kinds of things I have been writing are not going to affect it much. I'm glad that I've done what I have done, but now I want to take on the second part of the question I started with. I have tried to explain where I got the idea of the servant as leader and the events that caused me to write the next two essays. Now I want to address the question, where do I want to go with this idea from here, with such of my dwindling energies as I can muster? The task and direction I'm going to outline comes out of much searching and reflection. I'm not sure how far I can get with it in the time I may yet have to devote to it. But it seems to me important to get on with it and to carry it as far as I can in the hope that I can generate enough interest in others to keep it moving along. What is the score on where our many institutions, large and small, stand in terms of the quality of the ideas by which they are led? How are we faring in moving toward a more ameliorative society in which servants are more influential in key leadership spots than they are today? Well, my view of it is that businesses are noisier, more crass, and their motives are less noble. Therefore, the consequences of non-servants leading them are more evident than in other types of institutions. But in my worm's eye view of things, the proportion of businesses that are led by true servants is just as large as in hospitals, schools, churches, and governmental agencies. Such people seem not to be numerous in high places any place. Therefore, I see it as I see it. If more of our institutions are to be servant-led, so that that becomes the norm rather than the exception, as it now seems to be, then there will need to be a cultural change that establishes servant leaders as the norm and clearly labels non-servants in key positions as unwholesome deviants. And that will take a bit of doing. The difficulty, but difficult as it seems, I am hopeful that it can be done in time. At least that has become my prime concern, doing what I can in my small way to help that cultural change to happen. I believe that some change in that direction is taking place now, but very slowly. My concern now is to do what I can to help speed that change up. The question is, where is the handle? Is there a place where a manageable effort might accelerate that change? I think there is. That place, in my view, after considerable struggle with the question, is theological seminaries, seminaries of all faiths. As matters now stand, seminaries will put their seal of approval on a constructive change after it happened. The question is, can seminaries be persuaded to lead, to go out ahead and show the way by conceptualizing what that change ought to be before it happens? Then, having that idea, will they express it as a compelling vision and endow it with a charge of spirit so that it can be communicated to churches and schools who will mediate that vision to those who do the work of the world, and in the process, perhaps, make of themselves places that are servant-led. I can hear the objections, an impossible task. Most seminaries are weak, confused, and bogged down in theological abstractions to a point that makes them virtually inaccessible to the logic suggested above. I agree, and I know it will not be easy, but I cannot identify any other category of institution that is as well positioned for this role. And we have neither the resources nor the time to build other institutions that might do it better, even if we knew how to do that, which we probably don't. I see no feasible alternative if we want to mount an effort to speed up the cultural change necessary for ours to become a more servant-led society. Fortunately, there are a few seminaries that are open to new ideas, particularly if a little money comes along with the ideas. Let's start with them. This is the basis for my hope, and I want to bet my remaining chips on helping to move the servant leadership idea through the seminaries to churches and schools as a part of a new theology of institutions that seminaries will be encouraged to originate. What can a non-theologian like me do to help this process? From my limited view of seminaries, I conclude that their principal deficiency, one that restrains them from being influential, is that they are poor in spirit. The one quality which they of all students, of all institutions, should be rich in, they are poor. Consequently, what they have to say to other institutions does not come through as an empowering vision. And far too many of the institutions which should look to seminaries for a charge of spirit that would help them to become powerful forces for cultural change are spinning their wheels for want of vision. In answer to the above question, what can a non-theologian like me do to help? My personal mission at this point is to recast what I have been writing on the theme of the servant as nurturer of the human spirit, so as to try to make it spirit-lifting for seminaries, where, as I see it, the need is greatest. I realize that I will not get very far on this working alone, and I will welcome being part of a collaborative effort, especially with people who have an intimate knowledge of seminaries that I do not have. If someone will take the lead, I will gladly turn over what I have already done and help really follow that person. The important thing is to get it done. Thank you.